Okay, sorry. I'm trying to like get this on my screen. Hi, Hawk. Well, this should be interesting. Oh boy. I have all my points here basically laid out, so we'll see how this goes. I also have all my research. Oh god. Well, I hope everybody's doing good. I know, I'm sorry, I don't have my cam up. My webcam is kind of not working right. Unawares. Yeah, right?
Hello.
Hello. Hi. Nice chatting with you.
Hello, hello. Nice to meet you. Anne of
Yes.
what?
Ah.
Oh, sorry.
um,
Oh, dad named you off the bat. Wait, that's actually my bad. Kimi Marie.
it's
There we go.
Kimmy. You could just call me Kimmy. It's fine. That's my first name.
Okay, cool. My bad.
It's fine.
Okay, come on. So, you're licensed therapist, I'm pretty sure
Oh,
you said?
hold on. Not licensed yet. So I still have to do my 3,000 fucking hours of clinical work until I get licensed in my state. But yes, I'm a therapist right now, and I have my master's of science in psychology. So yeah.
You're, wait, sorry, I'm out of my depth here. What's the difference between just a therapist and a licensed therapist? Does that imply
So
you're licensed?
basically, licensed therapist is kind of a state by state thing. It depends on the state and what requirements they have for you to be licensed. Basically, I can still diagnose people, I can still evaluate people psychologically, but I have to do it under a psychologist or a psychiatrist. And I'm working under a psychologist right now,
So,
basically.
like a permit, basically, like to drive? Like you still got to drive with a licensed driver or something?
Somewhat. It's kind of similar to that, but the thing is that it's also weird because even if you are licensed and you still only have your masters, you still have to work under a psychologist anyway. It's more for insurance billing purposes, to be honest, the whole licensing thing.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Regardless, just want to establish that it doesn't change any of the arguments or whatever. Like,
No, it
just
doesn't. It doesn't.
all right though.
I think I just might have some more experience with um, sexual assault victims, I guess, and that's where I can bring in maybe some points that you haven't considered yet.
Okay, cool. So, you want to kind of take the lead on this?
Yes.
You saw my coverage and disagreed. What'd you disagree about?
Okay. So I made a list of points that I'm gonna go over if that's okay. I'll start with
Cool.
number one. So, well, actually, first of all, I'll just state where I'm coming from, basically, and it's that um, I'm not really on I'm not really on either one side, but I was kind of disturbed by like the lack of empathy that I see everyone, or well, not everyone, but a lot of people showing towards Katie. And there was some things in your stream, in your video, that I found to be like supportive of rape myths, and we'll get into that a little later, that I found to be kind of problematic and just concerning, um, and also supportive of like like attitudes that could end up promoting a culture of like normalizing sexual assault. But anyway, like I said, I'll get into that then. But my first point was that, so one of the things that you mentioned that you think was a malicious lie on Caitibugz's part is that she says like she calls herself freshly 18 or whatever when she was like 6 months into being 18, right? That
Yeah.
was one of the things. Okay. Well, I was thinking, to me, it sounded more like she was making a statement. She was making like a feeling statement rather than like a statement of fact. I don't know. Don't you think that it's possible that she felt that way?
She felt freshly 18.
Yeah. Do you think
Um,
it's possible that she still felt like
sure.
newly 18 years old?
Sure. I guess then what I would ask though is like, how do you justify her then explaining, oh, wait, it was a typo in my script. I didn't actually mean to say I was freshly 18. I meant to say I was freshly graduated out of high school. I guess how would you justify that?
Yeah, I think that probably is a lie on her part. That
Yeah.
second that second that second part anyway. I feel like she might have a habit. I think she might have a habit of trying to, well, I shouldn't say that actually. I was gonna say that to me it felt like, oh my gosh, people are coming at me.
Look at Sweetie sitting
Shit,
on
I'm
her
sorry.
cloud of judgment, handing
You're
down life
good.
lessons to all the sinners.
Sorry, I forgot about that. Thank you for the
Yeah, no
raid.
worries.
Okay. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Keep going. Keep going.
Okay. So I was thinking that, yeah, she tried to cover that up with a lie, I think. I think that's what she did. But
Okay.
I do still think that it's possible that she really did feel like she was still newly 18 years old. And I don't agree that there's enough evidence there to claim that it was done maliciously in order to defame George as a predator. I don't think.
Okay, cool. So off bat, I'm saying, yeah, this is possible she could have felt that way, that she
Yeah.
was just felt freshly 18. But I guess the reason why I'm a much more skeptical and I make the case that she is malicious is because we're dealing with someone who, like, as we both can already admit, that she's a liar and she's showing that she's willing to lie in this situation to make George seem worse and to make herself look better. And
And
this is just one of the lies. We could go over some other ones. So it makes me a lot more skeptical to think that it was just an I feel statement rather than she genuinely was just trying to lie to make George look more predatory and try to infantilize herself more for a point.
right. So yeah, that's of course where I'm gonna disagree again because and then going into my next point, which is related. I think that it's very likely that an 18-year-old would feel that a 26-year-old is a lot older than them. I mean, I remember when I was 18, I thought 26 was old as shit.
Yeah, no, that's fair, but I mean, she was trying to make the case to imply he's a predator, right? Like we could both admit that, or no?
I think so. Yeah, I think she was doing that. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I
And
think
do you
it's
think
because
George
she
would be
genuinely believes it.
fair that she genuinely believes it? Yeah, she probably does too. I agree with that. That her feelings probably are valid that she believes that. But I mean, do you think? Well, just off the bat, do you think George is a predator for doing what he did
I don't believe
at 26?
I don't believe from what we've seen so far that that predator would be a correct thing to label him as. No, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so it's just like established that she's trying to frame him out to seem like a predator, and she's using very tailored phrases and words to try to make him out to seem like that, which comes across as very, I don't know, disingenuous and an outright lying in other cases.
Disingenuous, but even if she really feels that way, like even if she really feels like, wow, I was 18 and he's 26, this seems wrong or something.
In some cases, yeah, because I'm pretty convinced that she knew what she was doing when she lied about certain things. Like
Yeah.
I'm convinced that she knew she was lying about the freshly 18 thing. That she knew she was lying when she said George pressured her to drink alcohol and offered to play the drinking games. Like I'm convinced that she did know she was lying there.
Yeah.
Do you think otherwise?
I think that was one of the areas where I think she did lie. Yeah, that was another area where I think she did lie. Indeed. Yeah, because didn't she claimed that George pressured them into the drinking game, but really it turned out that her and her
It was
friends
her
were
and her
asking,
friends.
or her friends were asking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was a lie.
Okay, cool. So, I mean, I guess just establishing we're dealing with like a liar on our hands here. Like, and she's willing to show that she will lie to make George seem more predatory and to make her story look better. I guess how do you justify all of those lies?
Well, I'll get to that. I just want to move on to my other point. Sorry.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
Cool.
So, the other point about what I didn't like about in your video was also that you came off as kind of dismissive towards the whole age gap thing. And actually, I think it's pretty significant, like an 8-year age gap involving a teenager. I think that is actually significant, and I do think that it was justified for Katie to bring that up as a factor that was involved here. Not that it means George is a predator or anything, but I mean, so, okay, for example, there's a lot of research on adolescent teenage girls and older male relationships. And by adolescent girls, I mean the ages of 13 to 18 years old. And Katie was 18 years old at the time. And so there's a lot of increased sexual risk behaviors that are positively correlated with these age gap relationships amongst where there's a younger girl and older guy. So I think that it's still something that matters. And again, you kind of dismissed it like it didn't matter at all.
Yeah, I could see how I probably came across as dismissive, but I mean, I did still clarify in that video that I could still say, like, yeah, at worst you could call this creepy and say that's, I think my exact phrasing was that if I was a father, I wouldn't want my 18-year-old daughter hooking up with a 26-year-old guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But still, what I was mainly pushing back on, and the point of all that was to say that she's trying to use this to make him out to be a predator, and this is nowhere near enough evidence to show that he's a predator over a 26 and 18 age gap, you know? That was like my point.
How do you think she could have still talked about this without, in a way that you would be happy with? How could she have talked about this in a way that you would have been satisfied with?
I guess not telling fabrications or lies as explaining her story. I think she can say, I actually don't know. I don't know if I would be comfortable with her actually releasing this publicly at all.
Yeah.
I don't know if this ever, do you think this ever would be justified to release this publicly? I don't know if ever saying this publicly is justified.
I think she does have a right to talk about this publicly, but I think she went too far in a lot of instances, especially I think calling it an assault was too far. I should clarify that at first I did think this was sexual assault because at first I misunderstood and thought that George had grabbed her breast, but then I realized it wasn't that. It was just her stomach. That's correct, right? It was just her stomach that he touched?
No, it was her tits too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they were flirting, they were cuddling, they were
Yes.
spooning, then he touched the stomach, and then he slowly kept moving up.
Oh, okay. So then, never mind. I will still call this an alleged essay then.
An alleged essay? Well, wouldn't everything be an alleged essay? What do you mean?
Yeah, I'm still going to call it alleged because I don't feel comfortable calling it an essay. I feel comfortable calling it an alleged essay. Yeah. Because like it's a very muddy, it's very muddy.
What would
very muddy
it is?
situation.
I guess so in my opinion, I don't have any problem with these actions. So if I'm flirting with a girl, if then I continue that and I see that she's positively reciprocating the whole time, Katie even admits that she had initiated physical contact back. So I move on flirting, sitting next to her, to then cuddling, to then spooning, to then making physical contact underneath her stomach, touching her skin, and then continually seeing that she's positively reciprocating, and then slowly move up and touching her tits. I feel like that's kind of everything you can expect from a guy to do.
I was under the impression that she didn't positively reciprocate, but she was spooning with him and cuddling with him.
Wouldn't spooning and cuddling with him be positively reciprocating?
I disagree with that. I think with someone, and actually this is one of my other points, but I think with someone that you're unfamiliar with, it's very risky to just assume that cuddling or spooning means that we're going to get sexual. I think it's very risky to assume that, and I think you really should try asking before making a move like that, because it's very possible that it could make someone uncomfortable and it could violate their boundaries.
Maybe I could maybe I could hear you out for a cuddling. I guess you really lose me on the spooning part, though.
I get that. I get that spooning seems pretty sexual. Yeah. It's just that it's really important that we don't assume things. And what?
I hear you out here. Let me just explain. I don't want to go
Okay.
into cringe graphic detail, but I mean spooning. What do you think when you spooning? Like you got the girl's ass against your crotch. Like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know how you could friendly spoon someone. You know?
I get that. It seems pretty ridiculous, I know, but I'm sure there are girls out there that think it's just friendly spooning.
What would you say? What would you say the odds are that Katie's one of those girls?
I don't know, but it seems like she didn't want his touch, you know? I mean, she said that she didn't want it to happen. So shouldn't we
When,
believe her?
so, no, I just don't believe people off of nothing though. So what I saw is that she even released text messages herself saying she texted her friends saying, "In the moment, I was chilling,
Yeah,
but
I
now
saw
thinking
that.
back on it, yeah." So
Yeah.
that's confirmation from her herself saying, "In the moment, I was chilling and I was like having a good time going along with it." But now waking up the next day, talking to her friends, she's now saying, "Oh, I'm kind of sweating thinking about it though. I kind of regret it." Isn't that
Yeah.
confirmation that she was reciprocal?
I
Where
don't
you
think so, no.
eat is up to you.
Crap, sorry. Okay. I was trying to go back and look at your
But
on your
what you eat?
video.
You're good. You could take time if you
I
want.
just wanted to quick find that text.
Over the
message,
last year, we
actually.
also
No, for sure. I'll look for it too.
Okay. Because I remember that also she mentioned something. Oh, yeah, here it is.
difference.
There we go. Got it muted.
Yeah, I got it. So she says, maybe, bro, I have no clue. Like in the moment, I was chilling, but thinking back on it, I'm sweating a little bit like, damn.
Yes. Yeah. This, to me, I'm going to be honest, like, to me, this kind of reads as someone who's confused, honestly. And someone who, someone who's confused. Do you think it's possible she was feeling confused?
I think it's possible that she was confused at the time she sent this text message.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. So I feel like you have to reach an insane high bar of evidence to say that she wasn't reciprocal this night. Because what has she already admitted herself? Well, she's saying that she was chilling in the moment. She's saying that she cuddled back, that she initiated some of the touch on George as well. She did say George initiated most of it, but she initiated some of it as well. She already admitted that they were spooning together and that she was also laughing and smiling. But then her caveat was saying that, oh, well, if I was doing that, it was just because I was drunk, and that's me when I was drunk. But I feel like taking all these things together, I feel like you have to reach a huge high bar of evidence to kind of fight back against that, to say that she's just confused. She doesn't seem like confused.
I guess I don't really think it's that high bar of evidence because I've seen this so many times with sexual assault victims, to be honest. Like, so much of this, it just rings like reminiscent of so many cases with sexual assault victims that I had counseled before because I did work so basically I worked with domestic abuse and sexual assault victims, and I was kind of like a crisis counselor, quote unquote, but I didn't have my master's at the time, so you can't really like call yourself a counselor, but it's basically what I was doing was crisis counseling. And so I worked with a lot of sexual assault victims, and many of them, honestly, they expressed similar statements like this. They expressed like, I don't know, I am confused, like what maybe it was okay, maybe it wasn't, I don't know. This is something they sort of deal with. They have to kind of go through therapy and like iron out these feelings of self-doubt and confusion. And so that's why I'm willing to sort of give Katie the benefit of the doubt, because it does remind me of other cases that I've seen with victims who were confused. So yeah, I'm really having a hard time seeing it as malicious, to be honest.
So you're saying, well, malicious is another conversation other than here. We're trying to just figure out if she was like reciprocal in the moment. But
isn't it most important that if someone is uncomfortable with something, like she says that, you know, she didn't want him to touch her boobs, pretty much. It seems like that was the big deal. And I mean, I do understand George's perspective. I absolutely do. That, like, okay, you're cuddling, you're spooning, like, things, maybe I can make a move. Like, I do understand that fully. But I also understand her perspective of he didn't ask at all. And I do think it's very important that we not assume. I don't know. And especially with people you don't know.
Like, so you're saying that you should, I guess,
What I'm saying is
your advice
before you make a move sort of on someone's like sexual body parts, it might be a good idea to just ask to make sure they're okay with it. I mean, I think that he could have maybe avoided this situation if he'd done that.
Okay. I hear you. I guess just in all of my life experience, which I mean, granted isn't much, I'm not appealing to much here, but I mean, I feel like it would be really even awkward or out of the blue to try to say that like George, after getting all of these reciprocal signs back, that he could continuously make moves on her, to then ask afterwards, or like have to that he needs to reach a verbal consent bar so that he can move on to touching her tits. I feel like he's gotten every nonverbal kind of consent sign you could get. She's getting up to get more alcohol. She's coming back in his arms. She's cuddling. She's spooning. She's laughing and smiling. She's having a good time. She's touching him back. They're like play fighting. They're flirting.
Yeah, I know. It's just, I really want to be careful and not go. I don't want to unintentionally like. Because one of the main things that we teach in like consent education is that cuddling and flirting is not consent to go further. And we, this is especially like the message tends to be more towards guys, because guys tend to be the ones who initiate things sexually. That's just, it tends to be that way. It's not always that way, but, and so I do want to be careful about that. Because on the one hand, I do totally understand where you're coming from. And, like, I myself have been in situations like that. And it's like, well, yeah, that's fine. Like, yep, it's a natural progression. But then at the same time, yeah, it's still important to not assume.
I hear what you're saying with assumption. I just feel like there's such a strong case against Katie here that if we're talking numbers, given all of the things that she self-admitted on how she was reciprocal that night, to act as if she like wasn't reciprocating or flirting back, or that she just didn't think of any of these things as a further sign to give to George that he can continue moving, or that she's like in a bubble, as Brittany Simon would say, so like that she needs verbal consent each time. I feel like we're dealing with like a very low percentage of humans, like people.
Yeah, it's possible that, she...
I don't think that's Katie.
You don't think it is her?
No, I think that's got to be like under 2%.
Maybe. I'm not sure the amount, but I mean, I definitely, like I've said, I've heard many sexual assault cases where the victim was cuddling or was flirting with the guy, and then
spooning even.
Yeah, and then the guy took it further and assumed that there would be sex, but usually these are like rape cases. So I mean,
well, here's the thing. I don't know. Here,
penetration is obviously always going to be the most severe type of
if George like stuck it in after like spooning, it would be like, whoa, dude, let's fucking relax. But just like he already is making skin contact. He's slowly moving up. And he's been getting reciprocal signs the whole time. She's not saying no. She's not having any body language that's reacting poorly, from my understanding of the situation.
Yeah. Like,
to act as if this is anything close to sexual assault, I think like takes away from real stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I understand that point of view. I really do. My whole thing was I didn't like the way you... My main thing was that I didn't like the way you sort of... You basically kind of said like, well, if you're cuddling and like cuddling with a girl and stuff, yeah, you have the green light to go ahead. But I think you got to be really careful with that, because especially with a girl you don't know, who you just met at like a party or something, and who's drunk. That's a really big factor as well. She was drunk, and it slows down faculties. It makes it can cloud your mind. And I know George was drunk too, to be fair. So
Well, you can make the like opposite case on Katie too, is that you really don't think she was flirting. This was 2 nights into knowing this guy, and she's already comfortable enough spooning, cuddling with him, flirting, making physical contact back with him. You know, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
I feel like it's I don't know. It's pretty clear cut. And if we're talking assumptions on the small chance that she wasn't flirting and she wasn't reciprocating, in your opinion, it's such a low percentage. I feel like it's just worth completely sidelining.
I just think that it's possible that she didn't want anything sexual to happen and she just wanted to like cuddle and spoon pretty much with the guy. That's what I think.
Fair, but I would never put the responsibility on George. Like I actually am convinced she didn't want anything sexual to happen because when George offered her to come into the elevator to kind of go to his room and fuck and continue to kiss, I presume so. That's what his motive was.
Yeah.
You're asking him to come to his her to come to his hotel room. So it sounds like she didn't want anything like a high bar of sexual activity to go on 2 nights after knowing the guy. But still, I would never put the blame on George, and I would actually put the blame on her for cuddling and spooning and flirting with a guy and not expecting any kind of like sexual activity to continue from that. Like she has a responsibility. We should be pushing a responsibility on Katie to like speak for herself, say, hey, I don't like this. You should stop. But the problem is I don't think she didn't like it. I think all evidence shows that she was fine with it.
Well, that's a hard one because to say that the responsibility should be on the person to say no, I don't know. That's a really bad, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of a slippery slope, you know?
Well, it sounds rough to say like the girl should have fucking said no.
Yeah.
You know, it sounds like it sounds like a funny statement, but if you're giving the signs of cuddling and spooning for over an hour, it kind of rings true. Like, yeah, you kind of do. If you're already giving this guy these many signs, you're giving him the green light. Right. You've got to we should be promoting that responsibility to say, hey, if you really don't want anything sexual to go on, why the fuck are you spooning with a guy for over an hour? You know?
Right. And I do agree that we do need to teach, especially young girls, more boundaries, how to assert their boundaries, being more assertive with things like that. I do agree.
And I would even go as far to say that George isn't culpable for any blame at all. I think like if I'm teaching consent to my son, it would be exactly to do what George did. Right. I feel like he's gotten every sign in the world, making small advancements, small steps to keep going. I feel like he did everything right that you should expect and want from a guy.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely disagree with that because I think, again, that could lead to incidences like this where you get an SA accusation. And I think
this is a very rare case where you get like a combination of social influences and like the Minecraft community, especially thinking that like they get sexually assaulted over like basically nothing at all. But because it gets you, I don't know, this is a little bit inflammatory, but it gets you points and it gets you like to get validation or whatever. People trick themselves into thinking that they actually got sexually assaulted. I don't think that's the case.
Do you think that's common? That people trick them, or as you said, people trick themselves, to use your words. Like the post
talk, recontextualize and everything after like talking to your friends and getting yes queened, like what is it, gaslighting into thinking that you were sexually assaulted afterwards. Yeah, I think that's I don't know if I would say common, but it definitely happens.
Yeah, I mean, even psych research, cognitive psychology research does show that memory is incredibly infallible, and our memories are actually very easily like suggestible. People can certainly influence us in those ways. So it is absolutely possible. Sure. Do you think that's maybe what happened to Katie? Or what happened with Katie?
Yeah, I don't know if enough evidence to prove this, but like just personal opinion, what I assume so is like, yeah, she talked to her friends. Her friends were like, George did what to you? And already on the presumption of Dream having his own accusations at the time, they're going to assume the worst and thinking, wait, this is Dream's best friend, Georgenotfound. Dream has his own accusations. George is probably just as creepy. So I think she probably got gaslighted by her friends into thinking she was assaulted.
It's possible. Actually, let me go back. I wanted to go back to, because I still had some points that I wanted to go over still.
Yeah, for sure.
1 second. Oh, right. So, the reason why age gap relationships are still concerning in some ways, especially when it's like a younger person, like a teenager involved in it, is because there's lower relationship power usually on the part of the younger person. Oh, and also like the power imbalance thing, not just the age gap, but like the power imbalance thing with him being a really big influencer. Um, do you think that it's possible that someone could feel intimidated by that person and actually feel worried that like what could happen if they reject that person with a lot of influence and clout?
Sure, but I assume that's your like setup question. But like, yeah, I think it's possible. Do I think it's happened? No.
Okay. So you don't think that happened to Katie at all?
No, I think Katie thought like I don't know if Katie was really that like even had a crush on him going to this con. I
Mm-hmm.
think that Katie went to a party. She got invited to come up to Dream's place. She saw George. She saw that George was interested in her, and she thought that like it was flattering that a 26-year-old, pretty not to get gay, but like pretty attractive guy conventionally, and has a lot of like subscribers and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of like attention. Like people like George, and so she thought it was probably flattering that a guy like that was into her. So she just like I don't know, liked it and she liked the attention.
It seems like she didn't really like it all that much, though, no? Or do you
I
feel
thought
like
we
that's
just
just after the fact?
sorry, say it again.
It seems like she didn't really like it that much, though. She didn't like that um she found out that, I don't know, she seems to believe that he knew that she was 18, and that really disturbed her, it
Yeah, so
seems.
after the fact, after what I personally believed, to like be talking to her friends. Yeah, sure, she
Yeah.
didn't like it after the fact, but in the moment, I feel like yeah, that's the conversation we just had. I think there's enough to prove that she definitely did like it.
Okay. Well, I
But
think
I definitely don't think she was doing this out of like a power thing, like Harvey Weinstein to get a role, like
right.
or to like stay have a good standing in the Minecraft community. I think
Right.
no shot.
Yeah, yeah. I don't really see much evidence of that, but I also I also disagree with what you consider to be evidence of her maliciousness, so we're probably going to have to disagree on that part, but
Well, we could continue going to that. I don't know if we went that into depth on that. I don't know if you have any questions in related to that we could go over.
well, I am more so just I think uh because I had a lot of points while going through your video. There was like points that I'm trying to like get my thoughts together.
You're good. If you're saying like you want to go point by point from what you read down, we could do that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think I'd like to continue doing that if that's okay. And then we can, at the end, we could talk about like the malice versus like not,
No, you got it. Yeah,
potentially
sure.
not malice. Okay. So, I also found it to be kind of suspicious that George and his friends did play those drinking games with underage teens in the first place. And I noticed in your video, it seemed like you kind of dismissed that as well.
Suspicious that George was playing drinking games with people who were 18 in the
Underage?
first place.
Yeah, underage. Like under the age of 21.
Um, I guess so. That was probably the most irresponsible thing they did do. But I
Yeah.
personally don't really care in George's culture. Like if I was giving advice to him, if he was my friend, I would say, dude, what the fuck you doing? You got to
Yeah.
make sure who you're drinking with. You got to make sure that they're like above age. It just is like good advice. But do
Right.
I think it's a big bar to like show that he should be accountable for? No, because the guys from UK isn't the drinking age. What's the drinking age in UK? Is it 18?
I think it might be 18.
Yeah. And
Something.
also, based off of his information, I don't know if this is true or not, but it's just
Mm-hmm.
he said, she said, he thought she was 21
Oh,
because they were
okay.
already drinking. And also, yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Well, that's good then that he thought that. That points to him at least.
Yeah.
But
But even on the assumption that he didn't think that, would you think this is like a huge big deal to pin on him?
I don't think it's like a huge big deal, but I would say it's a red flag. A bit of a red flag. Willingness to drink with like underage teens and stuff, I would think is a little bit of a red flag.
Sure, sure. A little red flag, I guess I'll give you that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'll give you that. A little red flag.
I was also going to say that, yeah, did agree that, oh yeah, my next point was something we already kind of talked about, that it seems like Katie did lie about who wanted to start the drinking games. And my point to this was not so much that I don't see this as further evidence of her maliciousness, but I see it as more, again, from my perspective of having, counseled SA survivors and stuff. One of the things that is not uncommon that you see is that they might lie about their substance use out of fear that they'll be blamed or like not believed. And that was kind of the sense that I got from Katie more so, about her lying about that. It's not so much that like, oh, I'm going to try and maliciously frame George as like this predator, but rather like, she was like probably more so feeling fear that she would be blamed or not believed because it was them who wanted to drink, and also being underage and stuff.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely possible. I think that's the same reason why Katie, even though she was sitting on the right information, that text she put out wasn't actually from George's friend. It was from another girl. I think for the same reason she didn't correct the record there was because she thought, oh, fuck, if people see that I got something wrong, they're going to discredit and disbelieve my whole story even more.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, I still think she should be culpable and held accountable for that.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I also was wondering, why did you believe her friend, when her friend had said something like, oh, we didn't drink at all, it seemed kind of suspicious to me, I guess. I don't know. Maybe that was just...
So I didn't make an absolute statement there. I said,
okay.
I even said, I think I said, even her friend came out with a different story saying that they didn't drink. So it was more just bringing up like, hold on, what's even going on? Your best friend has a different story that doesn't even corroborate yours. This seems messy. It's like another point to show how messy this is, you know?
Right. I agree. This is very messy. Yeah. Okay. Also, another point that I wanted to make about the cuddling, flirting thing is that, so part of another reason that you believe this to be, I think you believe this to be her to be malicious is that she omitted the cuddling and flirting part, and she basically said, oh, it was out of nowhere. So that's correct, right? You consider that to be malicious as well?
Yeah.
Okay. And my first thing was, well, that's weird because, I mean, couldn't it have been another situation where she omitted those parts because, again, out of fear of like not being believed and out of fear of being blamed? Like,
yes,
true.
Like,
blamed, like, well, you were cuddling with him, so what did you think was going to happen, kind of thing.
True. In a vacuum and off of like based on one example, that is true. And I get that it could have been possible, like that's her motivations. The reason I'm making the case that she's malicious, though, is because this isn't just a one-off. Right. It's like all of these different things combined with another that shows she's dishonestly painting this story. And also, like, I don't know if you saw it, when she quote tweeted Georgenotfound's response, like heavy going in on him saying, you're a fucking coward. I've been waiting so long to say this. You're a fucking loser. It's like, I think taking all these different pieces together and putting it together, I think it makes a very strong case to show that she operated in malice for a certain bit of this story. I see what you're saying, though. Yeah. I can understand that perspective, but I feel like there's a bigger, stronger case to show that she acted in malice for parts of this.
I feel like that aspect, her going in on him, I don't know. I feel like that could be genuinely like her feeling very angry with him and feeling like he's to blame for her being blamed and her being sent tons of harassment and death threats. But I mean, I'm sure he got tons of harassment and death threats himself, of course. I'm sure they both got a lot of heat basically on them.
Yeah.
So, but I think that her anger might make sense if you think of it in the sense that like she feels like he basically got away with it because I think it's pretty clear, because I do think that she definitely feels like she was assaulted. I think that's pretty clear. What do you think about that, by the way?
Yeah, I think her feelings are probably valid.
Like you believe
that she was sexually assaulted.
You believe she feels that way, yeah.
Yeah, she probably genuinely feels like she was sexually assaulted.
Yeah. I think it seems that way too. Um, and I also think that it's possible that it really did feel out of nowhere to her. It's very possible that, you know, she wasn't expecting him to try anything, especially, didn't she say in front of a bunch of people? They were in front of a lot of people.
I yeah, I get what you're saying, and that it's possible that she didn't expect it. Like she really did feel it would be out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But I guess like we're really. I feel like we're stretching a lot to say that she could have felt that it was out of nowhere, because I mean she's cuddling with him for over an hour.
Right.
She's spooning with him for over an hour. Like I don't know how this possibly could be perceived that she could genuinely feel this was out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like an insane stretch. I feel like.
I don't know. It's hard to say because I do know that it's a fact that, like, from what research shows, that especially when men are have been drinking, they tend to view women as being more open to sexual activity than they actually really are. This is actually a problem. Like, so I don't know. This doesn't seem to be such a small, like, such a tiny amount of people. This is genuinely something that's been researched, that a significant amount of men view women's interactions as like being more sexual when they're drunk, especially more sexual than they really are intending. So I don't know, but I mean, again, I do understand where you're coming from. I do get that perspective.
Even if that is true, though, it still doesn't give a defense for how she said it was out of nowhere, unless she like got dementia and forgot the night, you know, for drinking too much.
Yeah, I mean, again, we do have to keep in mind that she was drunk.
What's that defense there? Keep in mind that she's drunk for what? Because everybody was drunk.
I know, but it's also the fact that she may not have really been expecting any kind of sexual activity, and she was just like being flirty and cuddly and kind of just viewing it as like friendly cuddling, being flirty, not really wanting to lead to anything sexual. I don't know. I've known girls that are like this, to be honest. I've known girls that genuinely just view cuddling as like, yeah, we're just cuddling, that's it. We're just
okay, here's the thing. If it was just cuddling, maybe I can like, you know, give you some more concessions. But it's cuddling, spooning, and a slow progression of him making skin contact and then moving up. I feel like taking all these things combined, I feel like it kind of just sets the scene. It makes it very clear what was going on here, and that she was into it, or like was fine with it at least.
Yeah, it's difficult because what she describes in one part, in her first response in her video, what she describes is like this freeze response that's really, really typical of SA victims. So that like really kind of stood out to me, like, oh wow, this is like exactly what SA victims usually experience. Like this.
Well, I mean, to be fair, she says a lot of things that probably real rape and SA victims have probably experienced, saying that her outfit was stained on her for the rest of her life, and she felt so dirty that she couldn't even wash herself off. Like, it sounds like she fucking read a rape fan fiction to try to craft this story. It sounds like a little bit. A lot of these were very over-exaggerated statements. So yeah, it definitely, what she was saying definitely sounded like real rape stories, but I feel like it's like a rape appropriation almost.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, you mentioned that in your video.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so you really don't think it's possible that there are like a decent amount of girls that might just want to cuddle and spoon and not really do anything sexual, not elevate that to any sexual level?
I think it's possible there's girls who are that naive, very low percentage, but it's, even if there are those girls who are doing that, it's Katie's fault at the end of the day. If you're a girl and you're cuddling and spooning with a guy for over an hour and you're letting him and not saying anything, you're letting him touch your stomach, slowly move up, and you say nothing before he's about to touch your tits, that's honestly her problem. And that's like completely her fault. This is in no way George's responsibility. Like, that's what we should be promoting, that girls need to speak up. you can't put any blame on George, in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely disagree with that, but
Which part?
the part where it's completely not his fault and that it's all on like Katie pretty much, because I still think that the one who initiates the sexual contact is the one that has the responsibility to get consent.
Well, I guess we just disagree. That's where your,
Yeah.
I guess that's where your thumbnail comes in. What was it?
Yeah.
Lerix fails to understand consent.
Yes, I do.
I guess we're like.
Yes, I do think that.
I think nonverbal consent was very much present here, and I think that's very much like gives George the green light. I don't think he has to ask, "Ma'am, may I please make the advancement of touching your tits, even though I'm already like, 6 inches away from it on your body, underneath your skin." I don't think he has to ask verbally. I think you could get nonverbal consent from there.
But wouldn't it be pretty harmless just to be like, "Hey, are you okay with this?"
Sure, if you're giving
okay
advice.
so far.
No, it definitely is harmless, and that's what I would give as advice, just to be like ultra careful, especially in these Minecraft community scenes. You should be checking IDs, you should be asking verbal consent every time, just the way this society is in this community. But regardless, advice is much different than just saying, "Hey, is this guy actually responsible here? Is this anything close to SA?" And I just think, no way this guy can be, responsible for this. I think nonverbal consent was very present.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think my last point was that when you said that another thing you found to be suspicious about Katie's behavior was that Katie went back to cuddle with George after the alleged SA, sorry, that was my quotation. What am I saying? That's not what you directly said, but you found it to be suspicious that Katie went back to cuddle with George after the incident, basically. And I think this is a moot point, to be honest, because I mean, victims stay and go back to their abusers and rapists all the time. You know how common that is?
I feel like it's honestly, I feel like it's even an insult.
Common.
I feel like it's even an insult to bring that example up in this situation based on how nothing this is. Like, I feel like this is the rape appropriation. That's the problem. Like, trying to say like this is Stockholm syndrome, to like go back to your abuser when it clearly like she was just going up to get more alcohol and sat right next to him back and started cuddling with him again. I feel like that's like unbelievable to make that comparison.
But what you were saying is that I think your point was that if she was allegedly SA'd, why would she go back to cuddle with him? Isn't that what you were saying?
Yes, I was saying that, but that point wasn't in a vacuum. It was on top of all the other points I was making, and it's just another point to add onto the stack that makes it very suspicious that she was getting up to get more alcohol and continued cuddling back in his arms, tagging along all my other points. So I think that's what gave it the merit.
All right. So you really don't believe what her explanation of that was, basically, that she was kind of scared to hurt his feelings or like make a scene?
Yeah, she was painting him out to be Harvey Weinstein, like saying like she felt like what was the exact quote? She felt like it was her responsibility or like it was her duty. She felt like she needed to just get sexually assaulted to be able to stay in these gods' presence. Like that was absurd. That's an absurd statement, especially in this situation. Do you think different?
I think that it was very hyperbolic, the way she kind of described it, but I also think that it's very possible that she genuinely could have felt that way, like felt kind of scared of like rejecting him and out of fear of like making a scene sort of in front of the whole group.
Sure, but I think there's overwhelming evidence that in the moment she was chilling and afterwards she's just saying that to beef up her story more. So it goes down better if this like overall community more. Her allegation gets more accepted. I think that's probably what happened more.
I guess, but I mean, wasn't there also quite a bit of evidence of the opposite though? Because like in the text message that she showed, that I have that up on the video, her friend even said, "Hey buddy, I wanted to double check with you that George didn't make you uncomfortable at all last night. I saw he was getting really touchy with you, so I just wanted to double check." I mean, doesn't that kind of show that like other people were noticing that maybe she might have been uncomfortable?
I think when I read these text messages, it tells me that like I guess someone saw that they were getting touchy,
Yeah.
and that I guess I don't I I see what you're saying. I just don't think this is enough evidence to prove that like what Katie was uncomfortable. Like this is like a friend checking in and saying like, hope George didn't make you uncomfortable at all last night. He's getting really touchy with you. But I think in the scope of all the other evidence, this kind of gets drowned out considering all the overwhelming evidence on the other side. But I get what you're saying. I mean, this definitely, if this existed in a vacuum, I would say, yeah, that's pretty suspicious that like, other people who were in the room are saying, hey man, are you okay? Did that make you uncomfortable last night? Is everything okay?
Yeah.
So I could see that if that was like the only piece of evidence we had, or there was nothing else backing up the opposing side. But I think this gets drowned out in everything else.
Okay. So basically, you really believe that there's no other explanation to her behavior. I'm done with all my points, by the way. So basically, you really believe that there can't be any other explanation for her behavior other than maliciousness and lying.
It's possible. It's definitely possible. I just think what's more likely is that there's like a better case to show that she did act in malice and that she lied on purpose to, make George look more predatory. And he's definitely played his part in this. He's got the consequences for that, getting sexual assault allegations following him for the rest of his life,
Yeah, I know. It's yeah. I definitely feel concerned for him in that regard as well, for sure.
I mean, yeah, she completely fucked him over. I mean, even taking away the intention side of things, right? Like, this is like, I don't know, just an unacceptable thing that you can do. Like, this is unacceptable. This can't be, I guess, just, treaded over lightly.
Yeah.
Just because she's young or whatever. Like, be realistic. She shouldn't be fucking behind bars or anything.
No, definitely not. No. I mean, it's a really messy situation, and I wouldn't want to say that like she shouldn't have come out and talked about this, because that's not right either. But I do think that it could have been beneficial to talk about this privately amongst them. Is there any evidence that she tried to talk with George privately before coming out about this?
No. To everything known, she didn't. I'm pretty sure, yeah, like, no. I feel like George would have brought that up. There's been nothing showing that.
Okay.
But, yeah, I mean, just, I don't know. I feel like the overall response now of her people blaming her and, like, I don't know, like, heavily shitting on her, heavily criticizing her, I think is exactly, like, what should happen. And, like, that's what needs to happen first. But you said something that you felt like she was justified in coming out with her story in the first place. Can you explain your take on that a little?
I do think that she has the right to come out and talk about what happened to her. Yeah, because she was unwantedly touched, and I mean, I think that she does have the right to come out and talk about that. I think she was inappropriate in a lot of instances, obviously, like the lying portions and stuff. That was not appropriate and that was not justified. But I think that she could have done a better job of talking about this and not being so hyperbolic in certain instances, especially. But otherwise, I mean, yeah.
Sure. Okay. So I think right, I'm getting caught up on the word right. So I think we both can agree she has the right to be able to do this. Yeah. But do you think it's justified?
I kind of do think it is. Yeah.
And that is because?
Because she was touched unwantedly and against her will.
So that justifies her coming out and even fabricating and lying about George?
Oh, no, not that part. Nothing justifies lying about George. No.
Oh, okay. So you're saying in like a world, if she didn't lie and she's just she should be able to tell her story.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, so outside of the factors of her telling
Yeah, she
lies and
doesn't.
everything.
Nobody has the right to come out and lie about someone. Of course, I don't believe. No.
Okay, sure. I guess I could see that, but I guess
Yeah.
that's so it's hard to think of because it's so far from what happened. Because I mean, when you think of the story, the first thing I think of is that she just told mistruths, I guess, about this. But even if she was telling her story without lying about the contents of it, justified is a weird word. I don't know how I would argue against this. I got to think about it more.
Yeah.
But potentially she could be justified because maybe she has the rights to do so, of course. But maybe she's justified, but then she should definitely be expected to pay the consequences for people responding. Like for the same reason she's justified coming out with her story, people are justified in critiquing her. I guess that would be the take.
Yeah, of course. What was I gonna say?
I got two other points if you're wondering too. You said rape myths and normalizing sexual assaults. I don't know if you already went over that, but if you want to cover that, I'm interested there.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
So do you know what? So okay. Do you happen to know what like rape myths are at all?
No, I mean, no, I couldn't tell you.
Okay. So rape myths are basically like false or distorted beliefs and stereotypes about sexual assault, rape.
Like what was she wearing or something?
Victims. Yeah, kind of like that. It involves it involves victim blaming, accusing victims of being false accusers, thinking that men, can't really help themselves, things like that. Yeah, like you can't rape, you can't rape your wife, you can't rape your husband, things like that. And I do feel that you might score high on the rape myth acceptance.
Dude, let's fucking go.
I can send it to you. Would you like to take it?
The fucking quiz? Hell yeah, send that over. That sounds like great content. Let's see.
Okay.
Let's see where I rank.
Okay.
I'll be next up on the allegation, no story. No, but okay, what rape myths do you think I have displayed?
Okay. Let me send you the scale with all of the and you could go down the list as I point them
Hopefully
out to you.
Hopefully I could get the Guinness World Records book for most rape myths. I'll try to break the records here.
Okay, so I do feel like you're kind of verging on number one. Under subscale, she asked for it. Number one, if a girl is raped while she is drunk, she's at least somewhat responsible for what happened. I don't know. I feel like you were kind of verging on that one a little bit at times. Because
okay, so you had drunk and then the asking for it thing?
Yeah. Because
okay.
I'm trying to remember now because I was watching Turkey Tom's fucking videos about this too, so I don't want to get you guys confused. You sort of mentioned that, like, okay, what's your point? She was drunk, but so was everyone else. So was George. But I mean, we know that being drunk definitely doesn't excuse, like violating someone's boundaries, right? Like, we can agree with that?
Yes. I guess I just disagree that he violated someone's boundaries.
Right, okay.
But I mean, both parties were drunk. I guess what's the rape myth exactly? That like the girl was what?
That a girl is somewhat responsible when she's drunk, yeah.
Well, I guess that's a void, right? Because all parties were drunk.
Not really. It doesn't really work like that. It can be, again, when these situations involve alcohol, it gets very messy and it can be difficult to tease out. But yeah, it's still not really like, it's still not her fault, basically. It's not like she sort of invited that upon
okay,
herself,
sure. In a vacuum, I guess I'm thinking of all of the factors already.
Right, okay.
Is that so? The reason I disagree is that the reason I think she's responsible is because if she genuinely didn't want any kind of sexual contact, if she genuinely didn't want George to like move up and touch her tits, it's not just because that she was drunk. Like that wasn't her problem. Her problem was cuddling, spooning with the guy, and giving him positive reciprocation back to give him signs to continue making those moves.
Okay.
That would be like her problem.
Okay.
I mean, it sounds like funny and like a meme, but like, what would you expect? Let's say like you've met a guy for 2 days. Okay, you've known him for like you've spent time with him for less than 10 hours, right?
Yeah.
2 nights, saw him at the same bar or whatever, and you're cuddling and spooning with him in that short amount of a time. I mean, what I feel like, what do you expect? It sounds like a funny phrase, but you're giving him the sign to like
Right.
keep going.
I get that perspective. Yeah, I do get that perspective. But again, I still disagree. I still think that it's really important that we make sure we don't violate people's boundaries. And like, if I accidentally like violated a guy's physical or sexual boundaries and like, went too far, I would feel like I should apologize to him for sure,
So will you always, so I guess in your outlook on life, will you always violate someone's boundaries if you, like, okay, here. So if I never ask a girl for verbal consent, will I always be violating a girl's boundaries?
No, not necessarily, because it would obviously depend on the girl, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Because that's kind of the point of boundaries, is that they're very personal to us. And the fact of the matter is that he didn't really know this girl, Katie. And so it's like I've said, it's the best option is to be safe and to ask instead of taking that chance.
I guess so, but I feel like just I hear what you're saying. It's just I feel like the world doesn't work this way in like 95% of cultures. Like if there's got to be a very low percentage of people who actually operate this way, where like unanimously culturally throughout most of the world,
I know.
I'm pretty certain that if you're cuddling and spooning with a guy for over an hour, that literally is giving the consent and that is giving the sign to continue and to make a move. Like the girl will sometimes play coy and she'll be doing moves like that because she doesn't want the guy to ask specifically, ma'am, may I touch your tits? So instead, she'll give you like little signs to keep going and to make movements on her because she wants you to make a move.
Right. And sometimes that absolutely does happen. Yeah, that's absolutely true and right. It's just that there's also girls that don't want that and girls that just want to cuddle or spoon, I guess.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think this is the point we're probably not going to.
That's where we're hitting a wall,
yeah. To agree to disagree on.
Yeah.
So,
but so the asking for it thing, I guess we already covered that. Any more rape myths you want to go over?
So I felt like also, number 19 under the subscale, it wasn't really rape. I know we're not saying that this was rape. I'm not even saying that this was necessarily sexual assault, but I'm not saying that it wasn't sexual assault. I'm just to be clear. I did feel like you were kind of verging on number 19, like in your belief system that like if a girl doesn't say no, she can't claim that it was assault or something. I felt like you were kind of verging on that one. Do you think
I guess like the problem with these, if she doesn't say no, she can't claim it's assault. No, I think the reason why she can't claim it's assault is because of, the problem is that we're having is that all these rape myths, I guess, like when they exist in a vacuum, it's not enough. I guess I'm taking into all the different factors of what she's doing, of what she's saying, of the signs she's giving him. And that's just the disagreement we're coming to. Cuddling, spooning for over an hour, I think that gives the nonverbal consent. And you're saying, no, you need verbal consent. Yeah,
well, especially with particularly the caveat with someone you don't know and you don't know their boundaries, because obviously, every day people are in relationships and they read each other's nonverbal cues and they have sex and nothing, it's not rape or anything. Like, it's fine. It's normal. It happens every day.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, number 13. Under the subscale, she lied. I feel like you might believe this one. Do you think you do?
What's like the fleshed out rape myth, I guess?
So, a lot of times, girls who say they were raped agreed to have sex, then regret it.
Yeah.
Do you believe that?
Yeah. Yeah.
You do?
I think I believe that.
Okay.
And that's shown by like her text messages. And then her text message the next day. Along with her admitting like how reciprocal she was in the moment.
Okay.
Yeah. But I guess the normalizing sexual assault.
Yeah.
Am I doing that? Am I teaching my audience to rape?
I think that no, I don't think you're teaching them to rape, but I think that you're kind of normalizing it when you say that, like, well, she was already cuddling and spooning with him, and so that gave him the green light to go ahead. And again, I think that can be very damaging. And we should really try to normalize getting verbal consent, like enthusiastic consent, with people especially that we don't know.
Yeah, I guess I'm thinking of spooning, and I'm thinking of like all the reciprocal signs, and I feel like that is the enthusiastic consent.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of.
But then it wasn't consent to her though.
So this is something Brittany Simon did. I don't know if you watched this conversation I had with her. Something that
I tried to get through it.
Yeah, you couldn't get through it. But I think that the problem with like Brittany Simon was doing a lot is she was saying that, well, you know, me in my 20s, you just explained my 20s. She like platonically showers with other straight guys,
yeah.
Or just like platonically cuddles, platonically spoons. And sure, I still think that's a very low percentage of humanity, but sure, it's possible that there are people like that. But that's some very sex positive. Yeah. But I feel like that's very sex positive people, she said, in like the queer community or whatever, her people like very open to that.
Yeah.
Katie is not that girl. Katie has at this time had no experience. Yeah. She's not that old. She doesn't seem to be sex positive. She says she's asexual. So taking all these factors together, she does not seem like the kind of girl who would be platonically cuddling or spooning. She sounds like a very immature girl sexually, that if she's spooning or cuddling with someone, I feel like that's a pretty big deal to her. Like my first time cuddling or spooning with a girl, that was like a big deal to me.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I wouldn't just offer that up platonically to like, you know, some random girl.
I can definitely see where you're coming from with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
So I guess my last thing would be, so you still are pretty convinced that
wait, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can I ask you a question? This is just a funny question.
Sure.
No, say let's say like your husband comes home and he was like, Kim, you know, don't worry why I didn't come home last night. I was just platonically cuddling with this girl that I've known for like 48 hours at a bar, 2 days. Like, don't worry. There was a reason why I didn't come home last night. I was just like platonically cuddling. I was spooning platonically, friendly cuddling with this girl. Like,
yeah, I would have a very big problem with that. That would definitely violate our relationship boundaries.
But I guess that it just comes down to like personal boundaries. Yeah, it goes back to that. So
yeah, it does. Yeah.
All right, sorry. What were you saying?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I guess you're still pretty convinced that she did all this like maliciously then.
Yeah, I think there's a strong case to show that.
All right. Well, I mean, do you think that it's better to try and avoid attributing malice to people where, you know, stupidity and immaturity and possible other things could be attributed?
In the majority of cases, absolutely. Yeah, like the simplest conclusion is probably like the what is it? What's the phrase? It's probably the thing that actually happened.
Yeah, like Occam's razor or whatever.
Yeah, like I'm not like that's something Brittany Simon kept like trying to say is that she wasn't some fat Machiavellian like evil supervillain who was
No.
planning this out. But like no one's saying that. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that because she I don't know, she just lied along the way. She lied about George to make him seem more predatory than he actually is. To try to make herself look like more of a victim and better, and to make him seem more predatory.
Yeah.
And I think because the amount of time she's done this, you can make a very good case for malice.
But I thought
in this case.
I thought she only lied like 2 times about 2 like minor things though.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, I mean, we could do that. So, what she did lie about is, let me see. So she lied about being freshly 18. And then when she tried to cover it up, she said, oh, that was just a typo in my script. Well, it wasn't. She said freshly 18 multiple times. She said, I just meant to say freshly graduate. Yeah, I was just freshly graduating high school. It's not the case. She said it multiple times. That was one. She also lied and said that the touch came out of nowhere, completely not even mentioning cuddling and spooning. And then Georgenotfound, a constant reoccurring thing we see is that she'll say one thing, omitting the context. George will say, hold on, you didn't even mention this. And then she'll be like, okay, sure. I wasn't actually scared to breathe and like scared to move. Fine. I guess like, yeah, I was cuddling and I was spooning with the guy. But her new cope was just saying that that was just because I'm drunk. So there'd like constantly be this cycle of her not mentioning details, George saying, hold on, you didn't mention this, and then her conceding and backtracking her whole allegation.
Okay. Well,
so
but she's never conceded, and I mean she was always accurate with the main situation, the main incident, right? She was always accurate with the he touched me, unwantedly. She was accurate about that.
Well, what I just mentioned to show she wasn't accurate, because if you don't give the full context and as important context of spooning and cuddling beforehand, I feel like that's not being accurate. You know, if I say someone fucking, just stuck it in randomly and raped me, but I don't mention the fact that like we were making out an hour beforehand, like I feel like that's like an important thing that I didn't mention.
Oh, really? Wait a minute. Really? You think that makes much of a difference though?
Okay, I don't know about that specific example, but you get my overall point. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I'm not saying just because I'm making out with someone fucking bend me over and rape me. I'm not saying that.
Okay.
But you get my overall point. Right, it's the inability to mention if you're not mentioning very important context into the story, I think that does show that you're not being truthful.
But again, you really don't think it could just be because she was scared? And it was really like, I'm going to make George out to be this predator type of thing, instead of like, I'm scared that people won't believe me or are going to blame me.
I completely get that. And if I had to take one thing to like, I guess, learn from this is to be a little bit more cautious and to attributing intention and malice and not to go so hard in on that, because I can see that perspective. I could see other reasons why she potentially could do this. But just, I guess the disagreement comes in. I think there's a better case to show that she was acting in malice because of the continuous lies.
Right. I get that. I do get that. Yeah.
So, yeah. And she wasn't lying about just irrelevant things that weren't that really big of a deal. I mean, also sitting on the fact of having the information that what she spread about George's friend wasn't even from him. And then she let George call that out and say, hold on, this wasn't even from this guy. I don't know why Katie said this. And then she went on her final thoughts stream and said, okay, guys, I'm taking accountability. Hold on. Taking accountability is if you actually would have came forward and corrected the story when you got the information immediately.
Right.
Taking accountability isn't being called out and then taking the one option you have left and saying, guys, I'm owning up to it after someone just called you out for lying, know?
Yeah. When she, because all of those streams are like deleted now, it seems. So I didn't actually get to see all of them. I just saw like the first one. Did she actually like apologize for lying in that stream where she claimed she was taking accountability?
So what she said, I don't know how important it is to you to play the clip, but what she did say is that I believe that it is a real screenshot, and that she said that she did get that information. I'm taking accountability for the fact that she got the miscommunication wrong, because that was the problem. Apparently, like one of her friends sent that text, and one of her friends miscommunicated the fact that it was George's friend and not that other girl who was in the room. So she didn't take accountability for lying. She just said, oh, it's a miscommunication. So she kind of took an out still.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I think, let's see. My last thing would be, why do you think that she did this? Like, why do you think that she came out and did this? What's your speculation? I'm just curious.
So she says in her streams that she recently saw Shovel. I don't know if you're familiar with the Wilbur situation.
No,
but
I'm not.
So Wilbur's another Minecraft YouTuber who got accused of abuse from someone else in the Minecraft community. This YouTuber called Shovel.
Okay.
So Shovel, everybody's saying in the chat, clout. Okay. That obviously I don't think that, but it's just funny. No, but so Shovel came out. It was a big accusation in the Minecraft community. Katie came on her stream saying, I'm only here because of Shovel. Shovel inspired me to do this, and I want to give my voice to other girls, little girls out there, to come forward with their stories. She said she wants to be the Shovel. Like what Shovel was to her, she wants to be to other people, to come forward with their stories.
Okay.
And so I think that's what her motivations were. And also she probably saw that Shovel came forward with her story, thought, wow, she's really brave. And that, man, these people in the Minecraft community are really fucked up. I have my own story. And then she decided to like go forward with it based off of that.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, yeah, I think that actually sounds pretty reasonable. Yeah, I probably would agree with that. Yeah, I don't really know the Shovel person and Wilbur Soot, but yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. I also wonder, I also think that you should consider, so I think you should just keep in mind that there's also a possibility that Katie could be someone who is a trauma survivor, and this whole incident could have re-triggered something that possibly happened to her. This is my speculation, of course, and again, just speculation, so I'm not making any accusations or any statements of fact or anything. But
yeah.
I think it's important to remember that a lot of times these kinds of incidents, which may seem not as severe to us, they could be triggering incidents that happened to a person in their past that were very traumatizing. It's just something to consider, that this incident with George could have been, it could have triggered her, basically. It's just, again, something to consider.
Yeah, sure. I hear you out.
I kind of didn't like it. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way when you said in your video, like, she's the furthest thing from a victim. And I was like, is she though? Or is she actually, like, is it possible that, I don't know, is it maybe possible that she...
Well, of course, when I say she's the furthest thing from a victim, it's talking about this story right here. Okay. Obviously, I can't know if she's like experienced a rape earlier in her life, you know. Right. But in this story, she's the furthest thing to a victim, and it's such an insult to get on her soapbox. She even did a whole segment saying that, dude, she was calling out people who put out false accusations and saying, all the girls out there who make false accusations, you're the problem with the world. You hurt real women's stories, real victims like me. Oh, it was like such an eye roller.
Oh God, she said that? Really? Oh my
yeah, that was my video. Yeah, that was like the Martin Luther King segment.
Oh, okay.
I think it was, or something else.
I don't think I got to that part. I focused on the main part with like, yeah, okay. I don't think. Oh yeah, I didn't watch the aftermath part of your video. That's what it was.
Yeah. I don't know. This situation's hilarious. But yeah.
I mean, is it really hilarious though, or is it more so sad?
And it's hilarious. I don't know. On my front, it's hilarious. I don't know. I get the whole like empathetic thing, and I understand, like, to be understanding for that side, but it's very hard to like show, and I don't think this is like even a fault on my end, to like laugh at this and laugh at the things Katie has done, considering like the huge detriment she has made to another man's life over, in my opinion, literally nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I could see that.
Yeah, like she is the problem with the world. Like she is the issue. I don't know.
But you know that like there is like an entire area of psychology that is like dedicated to research trying to figure out like how are we going to get people to believe women's like essay experiences and stuff. And I don't really believe that it can be simplified down to just like, oh, these few false accusers here and there. I don't really believe that to be the case. I think that's a very simplified attitude towards it. I think it's a lot more complicated than that.
No, I'm not justifying or saying that like if a girl comes out with her story, I'm never gonna be like initially, oh
Right.
dude, Caitibugzz just happened last month. This girl's probably full of shit. Like that's absurd, and that should be heavily condemned. Like that kind of behavior, I don't know, that shouldn't happen.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah, I
But
definitely.
still, like to come forward with their story, if you're giving advice to women, like I mean, how about just like, I don't know, just tell the story. Don't try to like make it overzealous, try to fabricate it to try to seem like more like headline fuel so that like people will more pay attention to your story.
Yeah.
I feel like that always just backfires in the majority of cases.
It does, absolutely. And it gets more hate towards, I mean, already women who come out with accusations are treated very harshly, to put it lightly, in society. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, true, but like, yeah, still, and I think the problem is Katie. Like, Katie's part of the reason why these women are treated like harshly. This is why, like, this should be a huge lesson learned for her.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really see Katie's situation as a false accusation, of course, like you do. So I have to disagree with that. But I also would say, I mean, it's always been the case that women who come forward, I mean, even for example, in like, we have the statistics on how so many women who come forward and even report their essays to the police, so many of them are labeled as it's labeled as unfounded. And there's research on this that like the police even themselves are really unjustified in labeling a lot of these cases as unfounded. So like it's even an issue with reporting essays. So I think it's just like such a widespread issue that I don't know if people like Katie necessarily contribute to it, because this has just been the case for so long. And
wait, you genuinely think that way, especially this case with Katie, where this was a huge online spectacle where everybody was chiming in and giving their thoughts. You really would say that you don't think Katie hurts other victims coming forward with their stories by putting doubt into people's minds to doubt other women coming forward? You really don't think so?
Well, I'm not convinced of it, basically. I'm not completely convinced of it because I still see Katie as having been a potential victim because she was a victim of unwanted touching.
Well, okay, just like culturally, how many people, like one example, I guess, like Amber Heard. How many people have you heard like reference Amber Heard when some woman comes forward with her story, with like their story? You know what I mean? I feel like these cultural references that become spectacles is the worst.
Yeah.
When it comes for women coming forward with their stories, because Amber Heard just becomes a phrase. Like this girl's a fucking Amber Heard. You know, I feel like these are the biggest problems. Stories like this.
I wouldn't say that it's the biggest problem, but I definitely think that it is a problem.
A substantial one, yeah. Maybe not the biggest, but a substantial one.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, do you know what the definition of like unwanted sexual contact is?
Unwanted sexual contact?
So, under the CDC. So I don't know what definition of like sexual assault do you go by? I guess we should have probably gone over this in the beginning, but I know it's a little late now. But out of curiosity, how do you like, what definition do you go by for sexual assault?
Oh no, I'm on the hot seat. what's my definition? I don't. Sexual assault is like a very dubious word.
Okay.
I guess if I had to like come up with a definition on spot, Google real quick. No, but let me see. Sexual assaults would be. I don't know. I don't know how would I define that? I don't know. How would you define sexual assault?
So
I feel like it's a very loose definition. It could mean many like huge different things for other people.
Is it okay if I link you something?
Go for it.
Okay, I go by this definition, the CDC's definition. Under the where is it? I just clicked off of it. Under the measure of sexual violence. 1.
Okay.
Yeah, so I really like the CDC's definition system because it labels like, rape as the top, which is unwanted penetration, of course, and then being made to penetrate someone else, then sexual coercion, then near the bottom is unwanted sexual contact, and they define it as unwanted sexual experiences involving touch but not sexual penetration, such as being kissed in a sexual way or having sexual body parts fondled, groped, or grabbed. And it's hard for me because I do feel like that definition could be applied to Katie's situation.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the main thing. Especially for dubious words such as sexual assault, I tend not to harp on the phrase or the word sexual assault because it kind of has lost a lot of meaning because it means such different things to so many different people. It kind of gets lost. So I just focus on the actions. And what I'm seeing from the actions of Caitibugzz and Georgenotfound, I don't know. I would never consider that to be a problem in my book.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. I might be looping a little bit, but I'm sure people in your chat will get the reference.
Yeah, big time. But like, did this definition say, someone brought this up, does this definition say unwanted sexual contact? I mean, does unwanted like equal non-consensual?
Yes, unwanted meaning non-consensual. So generally,
gotcha. Okay, okay.
Yeah, see, this is kind of the part where we differ and in our disagreement, whereas you kind of think that like, there was consent that was given, and I am kind of the more, I'm on the side of more like, well, it was still unwanted, so it can't be consent because it was unwanted. That's sort of where I'm leaning towards, so yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned something earlier, something about like unfounded or unsubstantiated allegations. So I want to ask you just like your overall take. Mm-hmm. Do you think unfounded or unsubstantiated allegations should be like believed and people should get consequences based off of that?
So it's very difficult to say because so many sexual assault allegations that are made, they do get labeled as unfounded and unsubstantiated, and so much research has been done on the police mishandling of sexual assault cases, and it's been found that so many of these cases that are labeled as unfounded or false are not actually false, and something definitely did happen, but it was that the woman like lied about a certain aspect of the situation, or incident, or she changed a part of her story or something, or she was drunk or on drugs at the time, things like this. So it's very difficult to say. And it's very complicated because there's the whole societal rape myths that are really, that impact police's judgment on these cases as well, because so many people score significantly on like the rape myth acceptance scale and stuff in their beliefs, and so it's really difficult to untangle that.
Yeah I guess like something I would be concerned about is like, what was Katie wearing at the time or whatever? Like she said like jean shorts or whatever, like a sweatshirt, Nike sweatshirt. Mm-hmm. Like do you think that plays in a factor there?
Did you say that that's something you wouldn't be concerned with?
No, I think that would be like a pretty like it is a kind of a good point to show what she was wearing at the time,
Is it? How?
No, I'm fucking with you.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, what?
No, I'm fucking with you. That's
Okay.
no. I feel like the conversation was coming to like a close. So
Yeah. I guess it
Yeah.
has.
no, but if you have any like last comments, I appreciate it. You have any conversation and everything?
I think I'm pretty much good. Yeah, I think yeah. I think I
Okay,
got
sounds good.
everything. Yeah.
Thank you. If you ever want to talk again or in the future, just message me and let me know.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having the conversation with me. It was nice. Yeah.
For sure. See you later.
Bye. Okay. Whew. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you guys want to see the link? Where's the link to this definition? Let me put it in chat for you guys. Sorry. That was an interesting conversation. I think it was a good convo. He got me. That was funny. Yeah, I know. At first I was like, wait, what? I did I grill him? I don't know if I did. I'm not really sure. Oh man. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to I'm sorry that I wasn't able to respond to chat at all, but oh my god. I wasn't here for the whole conversation, but were his views changed anyway? They were slightly changed on the fact that he said that he will be more careful. Oh, you're welcome. He said that he will be more careful in the future dealing with these cases because of some of the points that I brought up, mostly in the sense of like why, you know, Katie may have lied about something, or why she did certain things out of like a fear of not wanting to be blamed and not believed. So that was actually that was pretty positive. That was a pretty positive conversation. And then I came across the VOD to your reaction the other night. Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah. Ugh. I think I was a little I think I was a little tongue-tied at times in this conversation, but trauma responses can make people act irrationally. I thought that was a good addition to the other perspective. Yeah, see, that's the thing that I was thinking of, is that like it's really important that we at least try and consider that Katie could possibly be a trauma survivor, and that this situation could have actually really have been that severe to her in her perspective. But yeah, I probably should have pushed back a little bit more on certain parts of this conversation, but you know, I get all nervous when talking on stream. I still get like anxiety, like social anxiety talking on stream and stuff. Especially talking to like new people that I'm not familiar with. Hopefully I wasn't sniffling at all though, because I took an allergy pill, so I wouldn't sniffle. Oh, let's see. Well, thank you, Mudman. I appreciate that. Some of the things I think that I didn't get to talk about were that I could bring up here are things like, okay, for example, I still feel that his video, I should have also said that I still feel like his video is doing more harm than good and just contributing to the like the mob that's against Katie. I still think that his video is contributing to that, and that it's not a good idea, especially since he's kind of mocking her at times, especially when he's mocking her like crying and stuff. I mean, I know he just refuses to see that it's possible to be spooning with someone and really not want it to get sexual. Like, that's very possible. But that was one of the areas where we just could not get past, basically. That was an impasse, an area of an impasse. But yeah. Did you guys want to see the rape myth acceptance scale at all? I could pull that up. It's pretty interesting. One second. Spooning is sexual, just like sharing a bed. There is no possible other reason to do that other than sex. Merle, your commentary was really good, Merle. Oh, God. I know, I was just like, oh my God. It really is possible, though. There's so many girls. I know so many girls that, like, cuddle and spoon and, like, don't want to have sex. But a lot of times men tend to see spooning. How old is that guy? I'm not sure. I think he's young. I think he's pretty young. But oh, sorry, I'm going back in chat. You guys are funny. Freshly 18 to me sounds like a way of saying they are barely an adult, not that they only just turned 18 in the last few days. Yeah, I agree. I think that she was saying that she was barely an adult, basically. Oh, that was a good point. Oh, Hawk, you know what? That was such a good point that you made also. That doesn't make any sense. People on the A spectrum are less likely to associate cuddling with sexual behavior, not more. That's right. That's a really good point I should have brought up. Damn. I didn't really think of that. But that is a really good point. Cuddling means you have already said yes to more. Oh my God. Victims should be attacked for speaking up about it. Merle and Hawk, you guys are great. Oh my God. Please turn up your mic. Ah, shit. I'm sorry. Fuck, was my mic low the whole time? Damn it. Well, damn. Thank you for letting me know, Merle. Shit, he was probably so much louder than me. Should have let us grill him. I know, right? You guys should have grilled him. Damn. I didn't notice until Quogi went live. Whisper stream? Damn. Oh, shit. Ah, well. That's alright. Do better next time. Oh, great. Volume-wise, but he was peaking? Oh, okay. Yeah. Damn. You guys want to see look at the rape myth acceptance scale thing? It's pretty interesting. And I do kind of think that he might believe in some of these. Like, in his video, I found that he seemed to be somewhat invoking like the whole if a girl doesn't say no, she can't claim assault, you know? I felt like he was kind of invoking that a little bit. But I do feel bad for like both people in the situation. I genuinely do, but I think my sympathies are lying a bit more with Katie though, to be honest, because she was a victim of unwanted touching. Yeah, but honestly, what kind of surprised me was that he was very not okay with the idea of like asking for consent. Like, I kept saying like, well, you know, just to be safe, you want to like make sure you ask. You want to make sure you get verbal consent with someone especially that you don't know. Because then incidences like these happen. But yeah, he really didn't like that, it seemed. And even if she wasn't, she is now the victim of ridiculously large exposure to haters. A sad situation regardless in my own. Yeah, I know, right? It's very sad. It's just a really sad situation overall. We good is asking for verbal consent. That is a very normal thing. Yeah, I know, Merle. Or just asking like, hey, you okay with this? Or like, hey, you comfortable? Just something like that. Ugh. Anyway, my webcam isn't working, so I need to get a new webcam, so that's gonna be fun. That's why I don't have my avatar up or my camera or anything. But this webcam is pretty old, so... Does anybody have any good recommendations for a good webcam, by the way? Out of curiosity? It's the game. Minecraft needs to be stopped. Excuse me, ma'am. I would like to now proceed with touching your thigh. Please sign here and have it notarized. Logitech C920. Wait a minute. I feel like I have that one. I feel like that might be the one I have. Or maybe not. Let me look it up. Thank you, Merle, by the way. Oh no, this is not the one I have.
Look at Sweetie sitting on her cloud of judgment, handing down life lessons to all the sinners.
Wick TV! Oh, Wick! Thank you so much for the raid! Thank you. My discussion is over now with Lerix. I've just been going over. But thank you so much for the raid, and I hope you had a great stream. They said it was a hate raid. Blame him. No. Hey, Texticle Johnson. Hey. Google car camera for 360 view stream. Oh my god. That's a super popular cam for streaming. Yeah, I'm gonna get that one then. You got grilled. I don't know about that. I think you're being a little too kind there. Let's see. HD Pro webcam in black. Nice. Yeah. I have the Logitech. I think I have the Logitech. One of the Logitech ones. I think I have. But yeah, figured it was gonna go at some point. But yeah, so for anybody that just came in, Elgato Facecam is pretty popular too. I like my Logitech cameras though. My Logitech camera lasted quite a long time. Wait, what one is this? I have it right here. Logitech. It doesn't say what kind it is. Nope. Doesn't say. Nope. Doesn't say. Well, apparently this was more like an ASMR whisper stream. Ugh. So, Check Bio is good too, but probably not worth the extra cost. Yeah, probably not. I like my regular Logitech cams. I mean, they seem pretty good. But yeah, that's why I don't have my webcam up, guys, because my webcam broke. It broke. Oh, Brio. I've heard of the Logitech Brio, yeah. Oh, hi, Polbun. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for being in my stream, Polbun. Bye. Hope you have a good day, too. It wasn't that bad. The Whisper Stream comment was a joke. Oh, okay. Sorry, Mudman. I'm just like, oh, man. I'm glad it wasn't that bad. Fuck. That was pretty interesting though, for sure. You know what? I didn't get to talk to him about like the trauma reaction checklist because I was gonna kind of be like, you know, instead of labeling her as being malicious, she could be acting out of like trauma. And so, you know, one of the things, oh, here, let me pull it up. Sorry. Like, that was going to be one of my other points that I kind of forgot to bring up, that like, instead of thinking of her as being malicious and stuff and labeling her as being malicious, will we see another dance stream? It's been ages. Oh, you still remember them, Leadman? Nice. I know it has been a while. I kind of miss the dance streams, too. They were fun. Yoga dance streams. I'll do more yoga dance streams in the future, for sure. When I get time, though. But I was going to bring up this trauma reaction list thing and be like, I was kind of going to be like, well, hey, you know, you're so certain that she's acting out of malice, but what if she could be acting out of trauma? How do we know? Because lying, I mean, sometimes lying is a part of trauma reactions as well. Can you go back on the J-Stug stream again? You're always a good contributor when you go on. Oh, thanks, Minty Ring. Hello, Kimmy. Hi, Mitsubishi fan. I know, I missed it. I missed J-Stock streams. J's Talks, Jizz Talks, Jizz Tickler streams. He's fun. Like, they're fun. Like, his streams are fun to go on. Oh, God. Restream.io is really annoying. But, how are you? I'm good. How are you, Mitsubishi fan? Nice to see you. But yeah, I was gonna mention this, like this trauma reaction checklist, because I am sure that he hasn't really thought about that it could be that she's reacting out of trauma. But yeah. I was gonna bring this up, but that's alright. Chilling like a villain, nice. He also said that he thought she had researched other victims' reactions in order to fake it better. If someone is determined to believe malice, you're not going to be able to argue them out of it. That's true, Hawk, I know. What's your opinion on the whole situation? Because in my opinion, she's lying 100%. So my opinion is that, I don't really think that she's lying 100% because clearly I think it's true that she's lied about certain aspects around it, but she has been consistent with the fact that she was touched unwantedly, basically. She, and I'm not trying to paint George as some kind of villain here, of course, because I don't think he is, but I think he did make a mistake. But I don't think we can say that she's lying 100%. I don't really see there being evidence of that because even George had admitted that he did touch her and he apologized for that too, for possibly making her feel uncomfortable. Just watch a few JCS videos and you get a rough idea of how unpredictable people can behave. It's true, yeah, people can be very unpredictable. But generally people have a reason. George and the Slammer, no. I don't think so. But people can generally have reasons for why they act in the way they do. He's 26 in a Minecraft YouTube. He's a villain for that. I was actually talking with my boyfriend about this case also. And do you think George paid her off? Suddenly she pulled all the videos and posts one day. I don't know. I think that's a little bit too conspiracy brained, to think that he paid her off. But it definitely is weird that she pulled all the videos and posts. Because she got a boyfriend, stand down. I think she probably did that because she was getting a lot of hate and harassment. Kimmy, I have a girlfriend now. Do you really, Mitsubishi fan? Oh, that's awesome. Good job. Feels like maybe they came to some agreement to move past it. Who knows? That's possible too. I was thinking more so that maybe it's because she was getting so much hate and harassment for everything. But yeah, that's actually that's possible, Minty. It's a good point. But yeah, I was telling my boyfriend about this and he was kind of feeling like similar. He kind of came to a similar conclusion to me, but he also felt like, oh, well, it could have been like a mistake, kind of. Oh, that's nice, Mitsubishi fan. But yeah, he felt like it could have been like a mistake on George's part, that he genuinely thought that she'd be okay with it. But he also agreed that, like, you should ask. You should definitely ask, especially with someone you don't know. Frill's out here talking about how someone would react to getting harassed by fans of a large content creator when she clearly knows nothing about that. Merle. That's Simcopter. That's the Simcopter emote, right? Yeah, I wouldn't know anything about that at all. I think a lot of Lerix's audience might be Destiny fans too, or not Destiny fans necessarily, but like commentary / drama fans. So they all knew of me, which was like, oh great, oh god. Oh, why? Oh. Yes, that is a sim emote. It's a zoom in of, oh, to make it even more cringe. Yes. I thought so, Merle. But yeah, I mean, I think it's good that at least we came to a conclusion that, like at least I moved him a little bit. At least he agreed that, he'd be a little bit more careful with these situations, at least. But I mean, let's be honest. I already knew coming into it that I wasn't gonna like change his mind or anything like that. I was just hoping to make like a little dent. A little dent. And I think I actually did do that, so that was good. But I think I'm probably gonna go now. It's gonna be my bedtime in an hour because I'm on that boomer lifestyle. And I gotta call my boyfriend. Okay, well, thank you everybody for watching my stream and sticking around. Oh yeah, we can raid Quokey. Oh shit, how do I raid someone in stream, in the stream thing? Do I do the same thing in chat? Wait, can you do the raid, Merle, or no? I forget. Are you still a mod on my channel? You are, right? If you are, you can put the raid in. Oh, you're not an editor. Oh, that's right. Okay, you have to be editor to do the raid thing. Okie doke. Yeah, we can raid her. Let me just go to Twitch and find her. Quokey Monster, right? Yeah. Oh my god, she's eating something really yummy. Wait, how do I raid this? How do I raid again? Oh my god, Merle, I don't even remember how to raid someone. This is how, oh my god, this is bad. Oh my god. I don't even remember how to raid. Did we raid Quokey Monster? Okay, yeah, that's right. Thanks. Raid Quokey Monster. Is it gonna do it? Maybe I have to type it in Twitch. Oh my god. It's such a boomer. Yo, I miss So Quiet. I haven't seen him in a little while. I gotta type it in Twitch Twitch chat. Okay, we're gonna raid Quokey Monster. There we go. Okay, it's been created. Thank you everybody for watching my stream. And I hope everybody has a good rest of their night or day. Thanks again. Bye, everybody.